Hey guys, welcome back to the Fish Slap Effect podcast. I'm Tracy and I'm here for another edition of What's Making a Splash. I have to be honest, I was actually really struggling with what topic I should go over today. I kept looking for a big headline, a new AI announcement, like something that was a huge shift that everybody would be talking about. But then it really hit me that the biggest thing that's making a splash right now isn't a new tool or algorithm, but it's the fact that we're entering into one of the most important times of the year. And I think a lot of business owners don't even realize it. Um, Everybody's really kind of on vacation mode. You know, business owners in general, summer has a way of putting us into that kind of like maintenance mode. And we tell ourselves, oh, I'll get to that after vacation. I'll get to that when the kids go back to school, which is unfortunately one of my favorites for me and my arch enemy. We'll get to that in September. You know, if that sounds familiar, then the biggest mistake that you're going to make isn't going to be having a bad fourth quarter. It's going to be assuming that the fourth quarter starts in October. We can start making decisions now to help us better prepare for the fourth quarter in August. And August is really like our stretch month. So when we think about, like how do we better prepare for what could become in the fourth quarter, knowing that that's one of the biggest peak sales seasons for a lot of businesses. And it tends to be when, everything's more active and busy. If we start planning that in September, we're already way behind the eight ball. You'll see people already starting to launch their fall campaigns. You see it in stores, you see pumpkins, we're starting to even see some Christmas decorations here and there. I mean, it's insane. So if you're not thinking about how you're going to market yourself going into the end of the year, you're already too late. So today I want to challenge you to think a little bit differently because I really believe that the quiet season is officially over and it's time to really start digging our heels in and planning for Q4. So, really with every year, the summer trap happens, without fail, projects get pushed and marketing kind of goes on autopilot, and that campaign that you were excited about doesn't get launched, and the videos stay on your phone, you forget to post them, and we convince ourselves like, hey, there's still plenty of time, I'll get to that. And then that's 2 or 3 months later, and we're all guilty of it. So it's the perfect time right now to give yourself a reset and really start to think about, how you're going to approach the rest of the year. We all get the great advantage of having our New Year's resolutions and everything else in January. Why not do it again in August and have your mid-year resolutions and be ready to hit the ground running for the rest of the year? One of my favorite quotes for today's podcast that I was thinking about is businesses rarely fall behind. They fall behind one delayed decision at a time. That's really true when we think about it. We push something off and, I'm guilty of it myself. I'm definitely not perfect. I do this way more often than I'd love to admit, but it's like, oh, I'll do that later. I'll get to that tomorrow. And tomorrow's 2 months later. And I'm like, I never finished that project. So for me right now, August is my opportunity and it's also yours. Think about it as your transition month. And it's really one of the most overlooked months of the year. Kids are going back to school. It's freeing us all up. So we've given ourselves that pass, that kind of like excuse of, oh, I'm going to do that after the kids go back to school. Well, it's getting ready to happen. So let's make a plan and make it happen. So we have a really successful fourth quarter. And it's a perfect time to really ask yourself some questions about your business. Like, is my marketing ready for the fall? Does my website still represent who we are today? I have to do this a lot. I'm like, oh man, we haven't added this service, or we're missing this, or when was the last time we added photos to our Google business profile? All of those things that we're busy doing for clients, sometimes we'll forget about for ourselves. So it's a great time to do a reset. And is my messaging connecting with today's customers? Like, what do you do? What does your business do? And do you need to adjust your messaging as marketing has shifted and there's been so many changes across so many platforms? Is it time to shift something or, like freshen things up a little bit? Do some fall cleaning, not necessarily spring cleaning. We're not really slowing down, right? The shift is accelerating. Everything is changing rapidly. Usually we'll get on here each week and we're talking to you about something new, something that's changing, something that's different. So when we think about it that way, if we wait, it's too late, to start moving things forward. So stop waiting for perfect and That's really one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in business is trying to have something perfect before you launch it. And I've done that myself. I've been guilty of it. I'm not ready to launch that website, or I don't want to put that out there. And I'm afraid because I'm afraid to disappoint myself, or, that someone's not going to like it. Well, nobody's ever going to like everything that you put out there. But if you wait for perfect, you'll never know. So I would say this is a great time to get that campaign launch that you've been thinking about, to make that update to your website, to film the video, hire the new person, start the strategy. There's so many different things that you can go, oh, there's that one thing that I really wanted to implement, and put a plan together and make that your August goal. The perfect time usually shows up right after the opportunity is passed. So really don't let that opportunity slip by waiting too long and just trying to overly perfect what's next. So I have a challenge for you this week. We're going to take 10 minutes and we're going to grab a notebook or grab your phone, open your notes, and, whatever works for you. And then we're going to ask ourselves 3 questions. What project have you been putting off that will make the biggest impact on your business? What decision have you been waiting too long to make? And if December were tomorrow, what would you have wished that you started today? And write those three things down, and then don't make another list and overwhelm yourself and overthink it. Just pick one thing and make that your first step. And then don't wait till Labor Day. Don't give yourself I'm going to do this after. Start today. Make that list and then pick one and tackle it. You'll feel so good when it's done and you can cross it off. And then you'll make it happen. Make it happen this week. And then that starts to become part of your plan going into the rest of the year. So you can have your annual refresh and reset in August. So now that you have your one thing, that's what we're going to focus on for this next week. We're going to tackle it. We're going to make that our goal. And then once we accomplish that, go on to thing 2 and thing 3. And that becomes your strategy in the fourth quarter. Because now that we got over our little summer lulls where everybody's just kind of taking a little mental break, we can hop back in and get ahead for fourth quarter by starting things in August and not waiting until September. Because then September turns into October and now the year is over. And you blink and it's literally Christmas. And I mean, we're already starting to count down. We're like, 150 something days away. So, the countdowns have started. We're all very excited about the holidays. And then everybody gets into a new maintenance mode of holiday mode. So you really have a great opportunity from August through September to make those your 2 months that you put a lot of focus into building your business and making sure that you're setting yourself up for success, and whatever that success might look like going into the end of the year and the beginning of next year. And I hope you accept the challenge, because I certainly am going to challenge myself to do the same. So give your future self something to be thankful for. And don't wait for January to become the business owner that you know you want to be today. Thank you so much for listening to What's Making a Splash. If this episode encouraged you, I would love for you to share it with somebody else who you think it could help. And if you didn't like it, just pretend you never saw it, and all those fun things. And be sure to subscribe to the Fish Slap Effect podcast. Leave us a review if you have any questions or anything like that. Please drop them in the comments. Love to build future episodes off of your feedback. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and keep making a splash.